What's up guys, my name is Chico Moya and welcome to my channel. Today I want to go to Ireland because apparently even a country like Ireland is battling with immigration. Now, I don't know too much about Ireland except the fact that I really enjoy the accent, and when I was younger I always dreamed of dating a girl who had an Irish accent, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm going to be reacting to a YouTube video from The Telegraph to help me understand what is kind of happening, because this is happening in all the European countries and even in the US. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't worried before, but now I'm a little bit worried, and I'm sure as we watch this video we'll try to figure out where my worry is coming from.
I feel very threatened. I'm afraid to go out on my own. My sons won't let me go out on my own.
Ireland's anti-immigration backlash has spiralled into countrywide unrest in recent months, after a sharp rise in the number of foreigners arriving onto its shores.
Unfortunately, I think Ireland is becoming the new Sweden.
Protests, arson attacks, and hardening anti-immigration views have transfused Irish politics with a fervour not seen since the Troubles.
God damn, Ireland. In more recent times, my perception of Ireland has been this quiet, quaint little country that has people with nice accents who drink Guinness and who like to chill out. Like when I think of Ireland, I do not think of riots in the streets and violence and all that sort of stuff.
We're just fed up with the Irish government. We're just fed up with them. It's like a mass plantation what they're doing here. There's so many unvetted male people being brought over to this country, and they're planting them all in around schools, parks, and we're all feeling very unsafe. We're worried for our children.
We cannot sustain a huge number, that level of foreign people living within the borders of this country, many of which are living off social welfare because they're being attracted here because of the loose welfare laws and immigration laws of the state.
Look after the Irish.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Look after the Irish.
I always find it that when it comes to situations like this, it's good to listen to the people on the ground. Because think about it, if you are the government of a country, the first people who you need to help and focus on are the people living within the country. This is an important thing to understand if you're going to be in government, right? Or am I tripping? And so the reason why some of this kind of makes sense is because Sweden and Finland are kind of going through the same things, or Sweden is just a lot more advanced in certain aspects, but especially when it comes to welfare, that's kind of, I don't know, maybe this video will try and help me understand why governments are doing this. I know it's got something to do with the EU and blah, 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 but like, if you're doing something that is detrimental to your own people, that sounds like a reason to either reverse or to change things. I don't know. Am I missing something here?
But the Irish and the long-term homeless here from all over the world are living and sleeping in the streets. The council come and take their tents and burn their goods or dump them. And these people are on a housing list 20 and 30 years. But if you come in here off a plane with no passport, you're safe. It's just not right. So there. And to anyone listening to this, call me what the hell you like. Little do I care. Thank you.
I like that lady. But I think she raises some really good points. So I take it, unlike Finland, Ireland has a system when it comes to the homeless, like the staircase system where you get off drugs, you do this, and then you get put on a list to get housing or something. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. And she's basically saying that if you come in as an asylum seeker or something, you basically get shot up the list and you get housing and all that sort of stuff. And you know what? I can understand the frustration and the injustice of it all, right? And you can even see from that lady talking there, you can see that she's probably quite a nice lady, and you can see that she's so fed up where she's like, call me whatever you want, because people like to conflate being frustrated about immigration, well, this type of immigration, and and racism. Like, people love to throw out the racism word when the issue is just like, yo, we paying taxes. And the welfare system should first benefit the people who are in the country, and at least try and take care of your own people first. And I can understand that frustration. I know there are similar complaints in different states in the US, right? Where migrants are being given nice places, being given some money and all that sort of stuff, when the actual Americans living there are suffering. If you are enjoying this video and you want to see more of this type of video, subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It kind of tells me what you guys enjoy watching, and it gives me a lot more motivation to keep doing what I'm doing. And if you want to support me, I've got some merchandise at the bottom here that you can check out. But yeah, let's get back to it.
Some people have described marches like this as far right. Are you far right?
No, I am a concerned father. I have 3 children. I have 2 daughters and I have a son, 11, 9 and 7. That's why I'm here. Listen, the mainstream media don't report on what goes on really in these areas. There's kids being abducted, there's kids being assaulted, there's kids being raped, there's women being raped, and the mainstream media will not report on it.
If what he says is true, that is definitely pretty wild. And you know, exactly what I said previously about racism or being called far right or something like that, it sounds very silly to me. I don't understand why we focus so much on demonizing people instead of just listening to them and being like, yo, what are these people upset about? And then trying to fix that.
The issue of immigration didn't really come up much in Irish politics. I think we're probably unique in the sense that it's been a major election issue in the UK, in Germany, in America, but across the Western world, while this conversation was unfolding, Irish people haven't really discussed it at election time. And then now, I think around 2019 or 2018, that sort of time period, we saw the beginnings of protests around asylum centres being moved into local areas. And I think that's simply due to a significant uptick that we were seeing, where it was far bigger numbers than what we had experienced previously.
And why do you think the government has made Ireland's borders more porous and has, as you said, rung the dinner bell for asylum seekers and other migrants around the world?
I think that the Irish government is primarily concerned with appearing to be a modern European country, and they admire their European colleagues. They admire countries like Scandinavian countries like Sweden and so on, that are progressive and very trendy, I suppose, if you want to put it that way. Unfortunately, I think Ireland is becoming the new Sweden in a way, because the same way people used to talk about Sweden several years ago, that it was this country that was totally off the rails, they've got total strife, total ghettoization. It seems like having seen the failure of that policy in countries like Sweden and in countries like Germany and France, we want to replicate it for some reason that I don't quite understand.
It seems to me that a lot of governments like to posture themselves as kind and benevolent, while their actions seem to go against that, well, at least against their own people. People don't like change forced upon them, especially if it's a change that they didn't vote for or choose. So if a lot of, what did he call them, asylum centers are being built or being instituted in some of these little towns and stuff, and it's changing the vibe of the community, a lot of people are going to be upset.
The locals have been protesting for 3 weeks outside the town's only hotel, closed down last month after the government struck a deal with its owner to house more than 160 asylum seekers there.
I am out here, first of all, I'm a mother, and I'm very, very concerned about the level of migration that's happening into our town. We are one of the smallest towns in Tipperary, and we have 85% of international protection applicants. That's a huge number for any town, but for a small town like Roscrea that doesn't have any resources, we have over 1,000 IPAs in town. There's only 5,500 of a population in this town. That's a huge amount to expect anybody to take on.
Some people have said that the town has changed over the last few years. They're scared to go out at night. The playground is left without children. No people want to go there anymore. Why is that?
Well, I think a lot of the thing is, and here again, it's the arrogance of the men that are bringing them into the town. They don't provide any services for them. There's no recreational activities. So you have groups of 10 and 15 IPAs standing around in groups. Now, let it be said, if that was 10 or 15 Irish men standing around in groups, I would be intimidated. But when you're walking past a group of men and they're saying something to you in a different language and you don't know what they're saying, it's very, very intimidating. There's women, older women and men here who won't go to collect their pension on a Friday morning in town because the post office, outside the post office, is where they gather. Now, I'm not saying these men could be, they're probably really, really nice lads, but any group that gathers in 15s and 20s is going to be intimidating.
That is a problem. Having lived in Finland for a while, I have gotten some insight, some perspective. You see, I used to live in South Africa, and in South Africa, there's a bunch of different people. It's basically a melting pot of different people. So it's kind of normal to see different types of people, to hear different types of languages. But when I moved here to Finland, I noticed that people are happy with the way things are established, the way things work, the language that people speak, or the accepted languages that people speak here, and the way people act. There's a sense of understanding, right? When I go into public transport, I kind of understand that it's an unspoken rule that you don't speak super loudly on the phone, or you don't go sit close to someone when there's a lot of empty seats and that sort of stuff. I hope you understand what I'm saying. But then to be confronted with just a new culture thrust upon you without your prior knowledge or your vote or even expecting it, and in a small town, that is insane. I can't begin to imagine for some of these folk living in Ireland, having their own little communities, and next thing, a bus arrives late at night with random people who speak different, look different, seem to have different values perhaps, and they just now there in your neighborhood, just standing around, not having a place to stay and stuff. That is really intimidating, and it's hey yo, Ireland, what's going on?
While the protests have been mostly peaceful, some have turned violent, including in Dublin last year, where riots broke out after 3 young children and a woman was stabbed, allegedly by a man of Algerian origin.
And this is the part of the conversation I hate getting into, because we all obviously know people do bad things. We understand it. I'm sure Irish people in Ireland have done terrible things. But let's be honest, there is something different about someone coming from another country, arriving in your country, and then committing violence. It just hits a little bit different. Yes, some people will demonize immigrants or asylum seekers because of it, but can you actually blame them though? I could give rational arguments as to why it not be a good thing to just start labeling immigrants that way and whatever. I can totally do that, but on a visceral, emotional level, especially on the back of the government doing things like that, like bringing people in secretly and giving them preferential treatment and that sort of stuff, of course people are going to lose their minds. Like, of course. Like, how do you not know this? Like, I could have told you this. Like, why would you go to a new country, a country that has obviously been good to you, and you came to that country because it's obviously better than where you came from? Why would you arrive there and then cause shit? And I can say that because I'm an immigrant myself, not just to Finland, but before that from the DRC, the Congo, to South Africa when I was like 1 or 2 years old. It's like I've been an eternal immigrant, it seems, because I'm living in Finland right now, and I love the general peace of living here, the fact that there's not a lot of crime, there's people are generally honest and that sort of stuff. But I'm going to keep investigating, And it could be that some of my analysis is wrong or incomplete, and I accept that. This was just a quick reaction video. But let me know what you guys think below. I would love to hear some of your thoughts. And once again, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and like this video. And let me know what else you want me to talk about and look into. But I hope you enjoy this. Have a fantastic day, evening, or whenever you watch this. Cheers for now. Bye.